I now want to talk about the accuracy of smartwatches that most people are wearing when they're into fitness, or people will just wear it if they like the look of it, an Apple Watch, for example. And let's talk about the accuracy of the amount of calories that you burn when you are looking at your watch. For example, let's look at my watch now. The amount of calories burnt. I just need to change my clock face so I can see it. Let's go here. It says that I have burnt 2,446 calories today. So as I said, my maintenance is around 3,500. So it should kind of bring me up to 3,500 calories burnt by the end of the day. I still got a while now. I need to burn like 1,100 calories. And that might be relatively accurate. But let's look at what the research says about the accuracy of smartwatches. For energy expenditure estimates, no brand of wearable, which is what the watches are called, was within plus or minus 3% measurement error more than 13% of the time. Underestimation of energy expenditure, less than 3%, was observed in Garmin wearables, 69% of the time. And in Withings wearables, just a different brand, 74% of the time. Conversely, Apple wearables overestimated energy expenditure, 58% of the time. And Polar wearables, which is just Polar is another brand, wearables overestimated energy expenditure, 69% of the time. Fitbit devices tended to provide inaccurate measures compared with the criteria, underestimating 48.4% of the time and overestimating 39.5% of the time, despite the image in the study, showing a reasonable median value for accuracy. So, ultimately, I knew this, most people know this, but it's a bit of a shit show. They're not that accurate. As you can see, some of them are underestimating by 48% and then overestimating by 40%. That's within the same brand of different models of the Fitbit. Like, it's just so hard to tell. And this is why I don't like to look at calories burnt. Because first of all, it's so inaccurate. The way that you would actually have to determine that would be inhumane. You would have to take like muscle biopsies. You'd have to be in a metabolic chamber. And that's just unrealistic. Like, okay, maybe this is the best thing that we have, but it's not very good. That's why I don't like to look at it session by session. Oh, I burnt 500 calories. I burnt 550 calories. Because then you get into this competition of how many calories did I burn. But when you're going to the gym, that's not how we measure progress. Like the amount of calories that we burn, that is not... Okay, if you burnt 700 calories and someone burnt 300, does that mean that you're better than that person? No. Does that mean you had a better workout than that person? No. Because you have questions like this. How was your form? What weights did you lift? Did you progress from last week by applying progressive overload? Did you stick to your rest periods? Did you lift more weight than last week? You have a lot of questions to ask. And calorie burning doesn't really have much to do with it. Okay, look, if you're trying to lose fat, I understand you want to burn a certain amount of calories, and maybe that's going to help you. But then you get caught into this vortex of going, okay, this week I burnt 500, next week I'm going to do 510, then I'm going to do 520, 530, 540, and then you're no longer chasing progressive overload, training with good form, sticking to your rest periods. You're chasing just this number of calories burnt, which doesn't really do you any benefit, because if we come back to what I was talking about before, the amount of calories burnt is so easy to overcome by eating too much. So I would rather shift that focus that you have of obsessing about how many calories you did to how many you consumed, because you can actually make more progress by monitoring. This is for fat loss specifically. You can make more progress for fat loss by monitoring your intake rather than trying to maximize your outtake. And also you have this question of time. Can you just continue to train for so long? Okay, you started at burning 500 calories, but now you're up to 700, then you have to go to 800, then you have to go to 900. Like, are you just going to stay at the gym for 2 or 3 hours just smashing yourself on the Stairmaster? It doesn't really make sense. And that's why we have to start working smarter as opposed to just working harder. Oh, I'm doing so much cardio, I'm doing so much weights, and then you're exhausted. That's not the smart way to approach fat loss. It's not about like over exercising. It's more so about the smarter way to do it is under eating. And I don't mean starving yourself by saying under eating. I mean like consuming a calorie deficit. So just coming under your maintenance and dropping body fat over that long extended time that way. That's the much smarter way to do things, in my opinion.